Hey everybody, this is Hyperion here. Finally getting around to putting out another video. Sorry that it's taken so long. I've been pretty busy right as soon as the patch came out, and then I've been spending some time actually getting used to the patch and sorting stuff out. Anyways, today I'm gonna give you a video on the Marauders 6 set Demon Hunter, or M6 Demon Hunter, also known as a Sentry Demon Hunter. I know this is a pretty common build and a lot of people are running it, so some of you might not find it very useful or a bit redundant, but for those of you that are just starting or want a little bit more of an in-depth look at it, this video is kind of out there for you. I'm going to be going over the gear requirements, the build, and also the legendary gems that you're going to want to use. Okay, so obviously, um, by the name M6, you're going to want the Marauders 6 set bonus, and you get that by using 5 pieces of the Marauders set with a Ring of Royal Grandeur. Um, and just briefly, I'll go over the actual roles that you're going to want on this set. Um, so for the boots, first thing is you're going to obviously want Dexterity, Vitality, um, and like movement speed or all resist. Either of them are okay. I personally am glad that I got all resist on my boots. And you're going to want to roll your 4th main stat into cluster arrow damage. Always. That's going to be cluster arrow hits incredibly hard. That's where a lot of your damage comes from, is cluster arrow, so you want to increase that as much as you can. Pants, just the standard dexterity, vitality, all resist, 2 sockets. Your chest armor, you're going to want, again, dexterity, vitality, and you want to increase sentry damage on it. Mine rolled with sentry damage, so I didn't actually have to roll it on there. But if I had a different chest, I could actually, if I had a chest that rolled inherently with dexterity and vitality, I could roll that into higher sentry damage. Your shoulders, you want dexterity, vitality, cooldown reduction, and sentry damage. So they can be a bit harder to get because of the required number of stats that you need, or the required stats. For an M6 Demon Hunter, cooldown reduction is very important, so you want to get it wherever you can. Shoulders is a good place, so get it there. Um, the next is the Marauder's Visage, the helm. And what you want is dexterity, critical hit chance, and increased cluster arrow damage. This helmet rolled fairly well. The dexterity is obviously a little bit low, but other than that, it's perfect. That's kind of the type of helmet you want. The other item that's pretty much required for this set is the Bombardier Rucksack, and that lets you have 2 more sentries. Again, on that, the stats you're going to be looking for is, dexterity, attack speed, critical hit chance, sentry damage. You're going to probably have to roll sentry damage on there. I got pretty lucky, and mine rolled with vitality, so that was really cool. They can also, I think, roll with cooldown reduction, which is something that would be pretty fantastic. Those are the main items that you want. I wanted to mention there are a couple of other options or combinations, because I'm using here Tasker and Theos. I haven't gotten very lucky yet and found trifectas. I've been dumping all my blood shards into them. Found 3 pairs so far, but none trifecta. So, but that attack speed, increase the attack speed of your pets by 46%. Sentries count as pets, so these Tasker and Theos are increasing my attack speed by 46%. That's pretty significant. So if you can find them, you want to get Tasker and Theos. Another very viable option is running with hexing pants. So use the Marauder's gloves, run with hexing pants, and you're going to have to be constantly moving. That gives you about the same amount of damage as the Tasker and Theos. Another option is you can go with the Marauders gloves and a Cinder Coat, and that will give you 20% more fire damage. Not as good as Tasker and Theos or Hexing Pants, but still a viable option. And then it also has a reduced resource cost of your fire skills by 28%, which will let you fire or shoot your actual hatred spenders and not completely run out of hatred. Another option is using Mage Fists. And that actually works really well because you can have the Marauders chest piece with that sentry damage on it. So anyways, those are a couple of options that are pretty viable. One thing that I briefly want to go over is the bow, or the type of weapon you're going to use. So there's a couple options. You've got your two-handed crossbow, you've got just a two-handed bow, and you also have like a one-handed bow. So one thing is, a lot of one-handed bows you can get one-handed bow that's going to give you more damage. It's going to tell you that it's giving you more damage than a two-handed crossbow or a two-handed bow. The thing is for the sentry build, that's actually incorrect. What you have to look at is you have to look at the average damage numbers, and that's going to tell you actually how much damage you're going to do. So if you look at these two bows, my two-handed crossbow and my one-handed crossbow, you can see that the one-handed crossbow has a higher damage number. It's 2,648, and this one is 2,636. However, for the sentry build, I'm going to want to use this two-handed crossbow, and that's because it has higher average damage. This one, what gives you such a high damage number is the attacks per second. This one gives you a high damage number because it flat has higher damage. So technically your sentries are going to be shooting slower with this one, but they'll be hitting a lot harder. And the way you can see this if you look at the actual damage numbers on it, it's the small damage numbers under the big damage number. So if you look at this bow, the one-handed crossbow, it's got 1,152 to 1,942 damage. This, the two-handed crossbow, has 2,163 to 2,631. That's a lot more damage. So your sentries might not be shooting as fast, but they will be hitting a whole lot harder. So pretty much you always want to go with a two-handed crossbow or a two-handed bow. A two-handed bow, again, it's got a little bit, generally has a little less damage than a two-handed crossbow, but the thing is it has very similar damage, and generally they shoot a lot faster. So for example, if you find a two-handed bow like mine here, it's a pretty decent bow to run with. So anyways, that's something that I just want to go over. Important is the weapons. Next is the skills that you're going to use. I like using Smokescreen with Healing Vapors. A lot of people prefer to use the Vault with Tumble. It's entirely up to you. I like the Smokescreen because it heals you, and you can walk through walls. It just seems more versatile to me than the Tumble. For a fire demon hunter, you're going to want to use the sentries with Spitfire turret, cluster arrow with loaded for bear, and then use your wolf companion. That'll give you a 30% damage increase. Use your elemental arrow, immolation arrow, and use multi-shot arsenal. Okay, and then just briefly for the passives, these are a little bit screwed up because I was actually just doing some speed farming. This is my setup. You're going to want to use ballistics as one. You're going to want to use, generally, you're going to want to use custom engineering. I actually have custom engineering on my Hellfire amulet, so I don't need to use that in my passives. So you're going to want to use that. You're going to want to use custom engineering. And then depending on your party, you're either going to want to run with Call of the Weak or Steady Aim. If you've got like a cold demon hunter in there that's chilling everything, Call of the Weak is really great. or steady aim. Me personally, I actually, just because of my amulet, I run with both of them. That gives me a lot of damage. So anyways, those are the skills you're going to want to use. Now, just briefly, I'll go over the gemstones you're going to want to use. First and foremost, the most important is going to be the Enforcer. That increases damage of your pets by 28%. Or mine, at level 44, it's 28. I think it starts lower as you level it up. But anyways, like I said, sentries count as pets. So that's boosting my sentry damage by 28%. The next one that I think is most important is the Bane of the Powerful. This, once you get it to 25, it just gives you a flat 15% damage against elites, which is really helpful. But then also just the primary, gain 20% increased damage for a certain amount of seconds after killing elite plaque. Mine's rank 39, so it's 69 seconds. In most rifts, you do not make it 69 seconds without finding an elite pack. So this gem here pretty much gives me a flat 35% damage increase against elites, 20 against trash. Really a great one. The next one that, depending on who you're running with, again, if you're running with like a 0 DPS Witch Doctor or a Cold Demon Hunter that can chill things, Bane of the Trapped is a really great gem. Because it'll give you a pretty decent damage increase against enemies that are under control and pairing effects. So that one's really useful. I definitely recommend that, but granted, like I've been saying, you're gonna have to be changing your build and what gems you're using depending on who's in your party with you. Another option, if you're not in a party that has someone using, slow or stun or fear or something, another really great option is the Zai's Stone of Vengeance. Mine's only rank 24. I haven't really been leveling it up much, but this one works really well. It says damage you deal is increased by 5.2% for every 10 yards between you and the enemy hit. Okay, so, and that's at 24. As I rank it up, that damage will get higher. The important thing to note about this is it says, and this is actually the same for the steady aim passive, which as long as there are no enemies within 10 yards, all damage is increased by 20%. Okay, the important thing to note about this and that passive is it says it's increased for every 10 yards between you and the enemy hit. It should have been rephrased. It's actually counts your sentries as well. So if you put your sentry right on top of an enemy, it counts as you being right there. So this gem will not do anything, and that steady aim passive won't be working. If you're running that steady aim or this Stone of Vengeance, you're going to want to put your sentries as far back from the enemies as you can to where they're still shooting. So ideally, you're going to want to put them right around where you're staying and stay back from the enemies. That's going to give you the highest damage possible. Anyways, that's okay. Also, the other thing is for that sharpshooter passive, just briefly, it says 10 yards. 10 yards is not far at all. 10 yards is actually melee range. 10 yards is probably close to that little circle that's around me from my wolf companion right there. It's not much at all, so you don't have to really worry about that one so much, but for the Stone of Vengeance, you're going to have to worry about putting them far back in order to get the most damage out of it. There are a couple other options I wanted to mention. For example, if you're a Fire Demon Hunter and you want to run with Bane of the Trapped and Coal of the Weak passive, there is something you can do, which is switch your turret to Polar Station. And what that does, that bubble is going to slow your enemies, and it's going to cause the Bane of the Trapped and Call of the Weak to get procced. And the thing is still all your hatred spenders are still fire, so it's not going to decrease your damage all that much. You're just losing that the homing rockets that are firing at 120% weapon damage. Some people say that they like going with the frost arrow because it'll hit enemies, shatter, and spread for that slow. Thing is if you look, the immolation arrow, it hits enemies for 300% weapon damage as fire, and explodes on the ground for 350% weapon damage as fire over 2 seconds. So it's a lot of damage. The immolation arrow does a lot of damage. The frost arrow does a lot of damage. So if you switch out for that frost arrow, you're actually going to be losing a lot more damage than if you switch out your Spitfire turrets for your Polar Station. So anyways, you can do that if you're a Fire Demon Hunter and want to go with the Call of the Weak and the Bane of the Trapped gem. That's a pretty good combo. That's about it. There's I don't have the gear for it really right now, but there also is a Cold Demon Hunter, which is just about as powerful, I should say, as the Fire Demon Hunter. And basically the way that works is if you get the cold, all the cold gear, cold bracers, a cold amulet, stuff like that, and an Atreyu, which is a cold bow. Basically, the way that works is you're gonna switch to the obviously the frost arrow, and you're going to switch, I think, for the Maelstrom, cluster arrow Maelstrom, but you actually leave. Let's see. Yeah, you actually leave your multi-shot and your sentries as fire in order to use those homing rockets. Because they actually do some pretty significant damage, especially if you're using like ballistics and stuff. But anyways, if I actually get the cold gear, I'll make a video for that. But as of right now, I just wanted to show you the Fire Demon Hunter, the Fire Marauders Demon Hunter, and get that out there. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people know this or know it. It's a really well-known build, but I just wanted to have that up there for people that are following in my channel, so you can see it. And also you can see my take on it. I might have a little bit of variation in terms of what gems or such others are using. Anyways, this works really well. I've gotten up into Greater Rift 43 before with it. And that's actually pretty high without like spamming Greater Rifts for the perfect Greater Rift, or conduit farming for Greater Rift with a conduit, etc. So anyways, this works really well. Pretty much the only thing gear-wise that I could get better is the Tasker and Theos, and I'm gambling for those every day. Kadala just hasn't given them to me. Anyways, one thing I wanted to just let you guys know, for just normal rifts, I also run a lot of normal rifts for blood shards, is a fantastic combination for just normal farming is the Boon of the Hoarder and the Gold Wrap. As you can see here, I'm at 2,230,000 gold, more or less. I came into the patch 2.1 with, I think, about 800 million gold. So you can see I've gone up a whole lot. Obviously, some of that was from some goblin portals I found. I think I found 4 of them or something, and that put me up into probably the 6 range. But the rest of my gold has actually come from this Boon of the Hoarder gem with the Boon of the Hoarder gem, obviously. That gives you so much gold. Like I'll find 300 million a day, easy. So if you're short on gold, definitely use that. And then just a fun after effect is to use the gold wrap. And that that pretty much with those two in combination, it pretty much makes you immortal, which is fun. With those two, I'll just run around face tanking everything as my demon hunter. I'll just run around picking up gold while my sentries kill stuff. Run over arcane sentries, run over molten bombs, and not take a single hit. It's pretty fun. Just something, if you guys are short on gold or just want to have a little bit of fun, I'd recommend trying out. Anyways, as usual, guys, thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please subscribe. I'll be back at you with more videos later.